So, the last 24 hours has been a little wild because this is Battlefield 6. So yes, yesterday I got early access to Battlefield 6, got to play the game early, experience what it is. Now, you may be wondering about campaign. We cannot talk about that one until tomorrow. And in fact, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be streaming the campaign on both my Twitch and on this YouTube channel. We're going to be playing through the entire thing. If you want to be a part of that, be there, be square. Today, I am able to show you how the weapon systems work in game, weapon camos, leveling, and of course, gameplay of multiplayer as well. We were playing the launch build of the game. However, not many people had the game, so some of the gameplay you're going to see is going to be a lot of bots. It's just the way that they had to fill up the game. But I have a lot to show you today, a lot of systems. So without further ado, let's jump into the actual game. So this is the launch build of the game. Now you may be wondering why it says campaign is not available yet. That's because they don't want people to stream it. They don't want spoilers or anything like that. And by the way, I can't stream until tomorrow anyway, but they don't want any spoilers. So they've locked off the campaign altogether, which I think is a pretty cool thing that they did there. But this is how the game is going to kind of look here. Right at the very top, we have the bulletin. Training grounds, featured playlist, which eventually they took it out right now. You will be able to choose exact game modes, exact maps that you do want to play. That multiplayer feature is currently disabled right now, so we just have the featured modes. Now, these are the new things. These are the things that if you played various other shooters, you'll want to know how these mechanics work in the menus. Like, how do you unlock things? What does the class system look like? How does all of that work? So when I first booted this up, I went in here and my assault class, for example, I'm like, okay, here's one training path, essentially your perks. How do you choose the other one? Well, I went here and it says unlocked through assignment assault 2. Okay, what does that mean? And on top of that, I then went into weapons and went to go choose a different assault rifle. And it said, okay, unlocked at rank 14. I understand that. Unlocked at rank 25. But then underneath that, it said unlocked through assignment rapid fire 1. And I started to see this over and over and over again with just different names. And that is the new challenge system, which, by the way, I absolutely love what they did with this for unlocks. Instead of just leveling up, yeah, you're going to have that, and you're going to have daily challenges to get XP. You're going to have weekly challenges to get XP, and hopefully eventually they add some other things other than XP in there as well. But on top of that, we have assignments. Now, there are 4 different types of assignments. First of all, initiation. These ones are pretty simple. So you'll have big game modes or big team modes, small modes, team play challenges, vehicle challenges, things along those lines. And then you have your weapon challenges, which those are the ones that we saw before. So you have rapid fire, danger close, so on. And the example of this is the assault rifle one. Inflict damage or kills with assault rifles. Then you have get kills with specific assault rifles, and then kills over 50 meters. And then you have at close quarter kills with assault rifles, and then with other weapons as well. And then you'll have these for each one. But it doesn't end there, because we also have class challenges as well. As you can see, assault and assault expert. This is how you unlock various different things for classes, so various different gadgets, things along those lines. And then you also have unit challenges, which these ones are for specific game modes. Those ones are unlocked right away. Class challenges are unlocked at rank 20, and weapon challenges are unlocked at rank 23. Now you may be wondering about character progression as well as camos, weapon leveling, that kind of thing. So let's go back into loadouts here. Oh, also, there is one other set of challenges as well. They're campaign challenges. I don't want to show you any of those. I don't want to spoil anything. We can talk about those tomorrow. Now, assault class. So we go in here. How does weapon leveling work? What can you unlock? So on and so forth. So for each weapon, let's talk about player level first. So I'm level 11. You can see it up on the top right-hand corner there. Once you hit about level 50, you're not going to earn things for like weapons, class, gadgets, things like that really anymore. It's going to be all based off of your challenges. However, you can keep leveling up. I don't know the final level. I've heard 5,000. I've heard 1,000. It's going to be a lot of levels. There's just, as of right now, not much you'll get upon hitting those levels. Weapons, on the other hand, so for example, if we go check out the M433, if I press modify, first of all, these are weapon blueprints. So these different blueprints, this is the one that you get for pre-ordering the game. You can see that here. Now this is the base version of the weapon. Now some of the other ones, this one says unlocked at mastery level 10, unlocked at mastery 50, and then these ones are just currently unavailable. I'm not sure how we will unlock those, whether they're bundles or whatever they are. However, 10 and 50, each weapon has 50 levels. So if we then go and customize my M433 and go to camos, for example, when I go here, you will see that each camo has a different weapon associated with unlocking it. So the way that this will work, and as I scroll through here, is as you level up a weapon, when you hit weapon level 10 or mastery 10, you will unlock a weapon blueprint. When you hit mastery 20, you will unlock a camo. By the way, these snow ones are some of my favorite ones, as well as the naval ones that you can see here. And then 20, you will unlock a camo. Level 30, you will unlock a camo. Level 40, unlock a camo. And then level 50, you will unlock the final blueprint for that individual weapon. There's also some weapon camos that are in the assignments that we saw before. They're just, as of right now, kind of few and far between, but there is a couple of them in there as well. Now, we've gone through all the menus, we've gone through all the systems. Let's jump into gameplay. So this is new gameplay from the Manhattan Bridge map. And again, my experience of these maps so far is going to be a little bit weird just because I've been in so many games with bots. Here's what I will say though, is even when I would get into a game with maybe half the players or even a third of the players being real humans, the game feels really good and runs incredibly well. I give all the props to that. I had no lag, no jank, no crazy things. Campaign, we might get a little bit more into that one. One thing I can say, I can't show you gameplay or give you any spoilers, but the campaign can be pretty freaking buggy at some points. I experienced quite a few bugs. However, the multiplayer is honed in, locked in really, really well. Now, this map, Manhattan Bridge, obviously takes place in New York. It's really good. It might be my favorite map in the game. I love the way that it looks. It is bright, it is vibrant, and it's a little bit more spread out than if you played Empire State in the beta. There's much bigger buildings that you can get on. And in fact, one of the conquest flags is on top of a building, which I thought ended up playing out pretty cool. On top of that, there's vehicles in this one, whereas on Empire State, there was no vehicles. So definitely a different map in New York. And like I said, one of my favorite. It still feels relatively CQB just because the way that the buildings are, they don't get fully destroyed. They don't get fully leveled, whereas some of the other maps are more open fieldy, things along those lines. Now, the other thing is when you start out in this game, when you start from the very beginning, there is a lot that is locked and it takes a while to unlock. Until you even hit level 20 or level 23, that is when those assignments unlock, and that's when you'll start to unlock a lot more things. But even to get there, I played for an entire day or an entire night, a few hours at least, and only hit rank 11. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be faster when I'm playing with less bots and more humans. It was very hard to get a breakdown of the way that the XP worked and things like that, but the gameplay feels incredible. This map is awesome, and I'm looking forward to playing more on this one. Let's move to the next map now. Now, this gameplay here is taken from my live gameplay for my first couple of games, which is posted over on Ink TV. If you want to check that out, it's always linked after the video or down in the description. Now, the next map we have here is Saints Quarter. Now, this one, when I went to the map selector and game selector, is only available in the small team modes. In other words, this is probably the smallest map in the game. It's on Gibraltar, but it's just a very small section. It's absolutely beautiful, and I think it plays really well, but there's no large map to go with this, so I was kind of confused when they included it in one of the 9 mainline maps, unless there was some sort of build of it that's larger that wasn't there in the build that we were playing, but personally I couldn't find it. So yeah, I thought that was a little bit weird, thought I would include it. And as far as the small team modes, I enjoy them and I played a bunch of them, but what I found is that to me, if I'm going to be playing Battlefield, I'm going to be playing on the big maps, the vehicles and everything going like that. It just didn't feel quite as rewarding as the large team modes did, and I do think the changes that they have made through Breakthrough and to Rush feel a lot better. And and I can't wait to play more against more real humans, because I think that thing that's going to drive me through this game is like playing the objective, playing for the win, being the squad player, getting the revives. One of the most fun things of playing this was running through and reviving like 16 teammates in a row, playing support. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of enjoyment about playing this game, not necessarily in a role where you're just the slayer or anything like that. But yeah, if you haven't noticed already, this is another one of the new maps by the name of New Sobek City. I think I'm saying that correctly. This map I played in a bunch of different game modes. The one that you're watching here is Breakthrough. I think this is probably my favorite game mode right now, as it's just kind of like the most directed. I found myself getting into the most gunfights, but I also played Conquest on this map. I played a bunch on this map. As far as this map goes, it's not as large as it looks. Like when you go onto this map right now, like we're in one section, it looks like it's huge, wide, sprawling. Even in Conquest, the objectives are relatively close together and you can get from point A to point B pretty quickly. I think once everyone has their hands on this game, the biggest complaint will probably be that there's too many small maps. I think that is going to be pretty evident and pretty clear pretty quickly. Mirak Valley is kind of one of the bigger ones, and even this one was supposed to be one of the bigger ones, and it didn't feel like I was playing this massive sprawling map like I have in so many other Battlefield games. So I think some people might be let down by that, but if you're a player who's into Call of Duty or any other first-person shooters with really fast-paced action, you're going to be getting it in this Battlefield game for sure, 100%. Now, I haven't really mentioned the game modes because the game modes are pretty much identical what we had in the beta. You have your Rush, you have your Breakout, you have your Conquest, you have the new mode in there. There's nothing really new aside from that, but it seems though every single season they're going to be adding one new game mode. The one coming in season 1 is essentially a small team mode, Search and Destroy, which I think a lot of people will like, and I think it'll fit in this game actually pretty well. This map that you're seeing here is, of course, Operation Firestorm. This map's not new, it's a remake map, but brought into the game, and this is one of the few maps that I feel as though in this game actually does feel relatively large. This one and kind of Mirak Valley are the two that kind of stand out in that way. Also, Manhattan Bridge does as well, but the way that it's designed with the tall buildings and the kind of lanes of the streets, it feels as though it plays smaller, and that's kind of like a Siege of Cairo, where it is a larger map, but they direct you in a very linear way from gunfight to gunfight. A lot of the maps in this game do that, whereas in previous Battlefield games, I feel as though, I don't want to say they felt more open worldy, but they just felt more vast, I guess you could say, because it didn't try to direct each gunfight that you actually got into by having buildings separating the lanes directly. This, however, is a map that you will not feel that. However, if you play Breakthrough or Rush, it will push you into certain objectives, into certain buildings, but they definitely feel more wide sprawling than some of the other maps. So this final map we have here, I wanted to include all of the new maps that weren't in the beta that you maybe haven't seen before, is Mirak Valley. This, to me, is the map that this and Sobek City probably feel the most Battlefieldy, but this one over top of the other one. Manhattan is probably my favorite. This one is probably my second favorite. If you're a Call of Duty fan, I think you'll prefer a Manhattan Bridge style map. If you're a Battlefield fan, I think you will prefer this map. Just straightforward, plain and simple. Now, we've kind of given a breakdown of the maps. We've given a breakdown of the modes, how the leveling works. What are my thoughts of the game? This is certainly a Battlefield game that I will be playing for quite a long time. I have liked what they've done with the challenges, how you level up, how you progress, and how you unlock the various different gadgets and items. I am curious to see how they do that moving forward with season 1, whether they're going to implement more assignments, weekly challenges to unlock things, as well as battle passes and microtransactions. That's something we really haven't seen as of yet, and I think will potentially change the view of this game for some people. Now, I will briefly mention this. I don't think I can say much about it. Campaign. The campaign story, there's a good story there. I will say that. I won't say anything about the story. I will just say that there is a good story there to be told. The campaign gameplay is good, however, very, very buggy. And I will say, I feel as though the campaign is a little too short. That is pretty much all I can say without giving any spoilers. We will dive more into that tomorrow, but those are my thoughts on that. what really shines here is the gameplay. What they have set up with the team play, what they have set up with the various different classes is all extremely, extremely good. And one thing that I have not got to do yet, just because it's not set up, there's not enough people playing, is Portal. I haven't got to try out any of those new crazy modes which people are going to event, which I think is personally going to be the future of this game. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm looking forward to getting my hands on those tomorrow and launch day. I think that'll be really fun. A lot of people will have fun with those, and you can earn XP through those modes as well. So multiplayer is where what is knocked out of the park. As of right now, it's impossible to say how the balance of weapons is, how anything like that is, just because I haven't got enough games against people. I don't have enough things unlocked. The next probably week or two is just going to be set grinding, leveling up, unlocking challenges, and I think a lot of people are going to have a ton of fun with that. EA put together a great package for multiplayer here, and I think everyone who's picking it up tomorrow is going to truly, really enjoy it. But based off of the gameplay, I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Are you guys enjoying what you're seeing? Are you hyped for tomorrow? I can't wait to show you guys the single player, because while it is buggy, there's some really cool stuff in there. That's all I can say, and I wish I could say more. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. We're covering everything this year. We've got Battlefield, we got Ark, we've got Call of Duty, we got all the story. There's tons coming, and there's going to be a lot of Battlefield story videos in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching. And if you want more gameplay, go check out Ink TV. It'll be linked down in the description. Peace, guys.
We are reaching for the